Hi, my name's Sage and I have albinism. So albinism can affect anybody of any race or ethnicity, doesn't matter. It's a recessive genetic condition that causes your body to not create melanin or pigment. So what that causes is very little to no pigment in your hair, skin, and eyes. My particular type of albinism is diagnosed as ocular albinism, so I have albinism, or so I lack pigment in my eyes. Little known fact is that albinism actually causes visual impairment. Almost everybody with albinism has some degree of visual impairment. This is because there is a lack of pigment and underdeveloped eyes. So the actual part that is underdeveloped is called the fovea, which allows us to see in detail. Just the nerve is connected to our brain in a different way, so we're wired differently. And so a combination of lack of pigment and the lack of detail results in a visual impairment, because sunlight, or actually any type of light, not only goes through the pupil, the part it's supposed to go in through, but the iris as well. So we have a lot of light coming into our eyes. There is this sort of vampire effect with albinism. We're all pretty much scared of sunlight because it is quite painful to have light coming through your eye where it's not supposed to. You feel like your eye is actually burning from pertaining to the vision. Most people with albinism have nearsightedness or farsightedness, along with astigmatism and this other eye condition called nystagmus. And this is involuntary movement of the eye. So basically our eyes rapidly move back and forth, or up and down, or sideways, and we can't control it, and it causes this sort of vertigo in our everyday life. Nystagmus, which is the shaking, people often have a thing called a head tilt, which is placing your head in a specific position that actually allows your eyes the greatest amount of stability for nystagmus. So it helps your vision relax a little bit. So because everything is less sharp and our eyes are moving, our hand-eye coordination isn't great. We lack some depth perception, which also means, catching balls or high-fiving people isn't done very easily because we don't know spatial awareness of where that ball is. We can't sometimes even see a ball in mid-air until it's in our face. Almost everybody with albinism is visually impaired, and to what degree it varies. It can be almost perfect vision to very extreme lack of vision. So
one of the things that actually really irritates me is when people with glasses who don't have a visual impairment say, oh, without glasses, I'm legally blind, which just isn't true, because legally blind is defined as with corrected lenses. So if you have glasses that fix your vision to perfect vision, you are not considered legally blind with or without glasses, because you can be fixed.
Albinism affects my daily life. I often have to have things enlarged. I use an iPad during class. I can't see small print. I read my phone or text or read a book very close to my face, because if it's anywhere farther than about here, I can't see it clearly. I also have frequent migraines, even though it has more of a genetic predisposition than having anything to do with the albinism. But because I have a visual impairment, it often creates this sort of catalyst for my migraines. So when my eyes are working too hard, or I'm straining or reading for too long, or staring at a board in class for too long, it can often turn into a very aggressive headache. That's really frustrating in life, because you're trying to go about your day as normal and you just go to class and come back with a migraine that leaves you in bed with the lights out and an ice pack on your eyes. And it's hard to explain to people, because most people don't even understand that I have a visual impairment, let alone what it can actually effect in my life. I also can't drive because I can't see signs. I can't determine how far away I am from other cars. I have to take public transportation and always will have to take public transportation or rely on other people to drive me places. I also use a cane for the blind, which I have here. I use the cane at night because I also suffer from night blindness, which is undiagnosed, but I have a very hard time with depth perception and a general lack of vision at night. Daytime, if I am outside and it is sunny, I generally have a very small field of vision. I will insert a picture of what my vision would look like compared to a normal person's vision, and even with sunglasses my eyes have to strain and fight the sunlight, and it still hurts even with sunglasses on.
Another question I get asked frequently is, what can I see? So that's kind of hard to describe because I don't know what it's like to have normal vision because I am born with this condition and I've always had this eyesight. So my day-to-day life doesn't actually seem like I'm visually impaired because I see what I see and it hasn't changed. Because I can't see detail, I usually can't see things like leaves on trees or blades of grass or, you know, a rock on the sidewalk. I can't see people's faces, or I can't read street signs, or sometimes when it's really bright outside I can't see the stop sign or the street lights.
Part of why I wanted to make this video was not only to educate people about visual impairments, because generally when you see somebody who is blind or with a cane, people assume that they are completely blind, and that's just not the case. About 10% of people who are declared blind or visually impaired are actually totally blind and can't see anything. Most people have some sort of sight. One of my main struggles with having low vision is some everyday tasks like recognizing people who are waving to you or calling your name. If I turn towards them because I hear them talking to me, I can't actually see who it is. So I usually recognize people based on hairstyle or hair color or their height or weight, something that doesn't have to do with their face, because from a distance I can't identify people. The last thing I wanted to talk about was what it means to have visual limitation. Even though I am disabled, I don't perceive myself as, you know, struggling or somebody to pity. I work hard to try and meet the standards of society as to what is normal, but it's also a constant battle of educating. I try and live life to the fullest, as cliche as it sounds.